too much noise going around about Manchester City at the moment. Everton's demise somehow became a discussion about 115 charges. Now losers want to say there's a mole in the locker room. You know what I take from that? People are terrified, aghast at the football Manchester City are playing. The Manchester Derby should have weight to the whole match, pomp and circumstance, all that. After all, it was SAF, the Football Knight of Stretford, who established the United as the great club, and City simply being another football club in Manchester. Times have changed, which is easy to say after a 3-0 beatdown at Old Trafford. How about some pep before the match began? Asked about SAF's words in the past and how there was such a vast difference in success.
Was right, We were not the City. We were not challenged them. We were in the middle of the bottom. But after that, since I said many times, without the presence for Sheikh Mansour, for Khaldoun, to go over and make an investment, that like United in that time, they was the richest ones, and Arsenal was the richest one. That's why we were there. So, and after that, in that moment, Sir Alex Ferguson could not expect, that, but not even myself. It was in Barcelona. It happened. But now we are reality. We want to stay as long as possible. Maybe it's uncomfortable because we were not in the elites, and now we are in the elite. Maybe it's uncomfortable for many things, but we were there. We are there. We want to be there in the future.
Now the reality is, we are the richest one. Maybe the reality is not so comfortable for many things, like Pep said. Okay. City running things shouldn't supersede the Manchester Derby, can it? Not so fast, says Eric Ten Hag when he's asked about the Derby.
I think it's a match above many other derbies. It's so huge because it's Manchester internal. But I think it's also about world football, and all the eyes will be on this game global-wide.
There you go. That's the energy you would expect for a Manchester derby. Or
in Manchester itself, there were lots of fans who were visibly very emotional because of the rivalry of these two clubs. Have you felt that rivalry more and the emotion behind it in your time here at the club?
Oh, it's okay. It's a good rivalry. I think it's respect each club. I think so. So, no.
It's the club. Wow. Well, if Manchester Derby ain't it, who would?
Who do you see as your biggest rivals? The team that are challenging you for the title?
It was 1 year with Ole that was close, but of course have been Liverpool. When I finished my tenure here, Liverpool have been my rival, our rival. They make us a challenge higher, and help make us a better team. In my period here, of course, now Arsenal is back, and of course Newcastle arrive, and Chelsea are in the process, to restructure. So and the other team. So that's always look at Spurs now, how good they are playing, 1 game a week. They have to be fresh all the season. They are out for the Carabao Cup, so Spurs will be there for sure, definitely. But
he's playing a team. Who did he not mention? Arsenal, Newcastle, Chelsea, Tottenham. He even gave them some love. In a way, he was like, 1 game a week they get to play out of the Carabao Cup. So lucky. City on the way to their four-peat, or as I will dub it, the quadruple debate your friends who care. Moving on. The greats managed to stay inspired, find slights in the basil, the benign, turn it into locker room material. After winning the treble, after losing Gundo, Mahrez, Laporte, how do you keep that fire burning?
But when I see the way we perform mainly all the games, and still many things that they are not in the highlights, still make me feel okay. Let's go. Let's try it again.
Man said, I don't see myself in highlights on television. The love ain't matching the success. The slight is going to become success for Manchester. We are inevitable. We are the evil empire. You know the damn vibes.
When you're the wonderful, I hate it.
We're making art over here,
To
baby.
make a mistake. You have permission to lose. You have permission.
Capitalize that A.
And that's when we get big.
Yeah, I'm a genius.
Attack everyone and send everyone.
I think we're forgetting the most important thing. We're forgetting about focusing just on ourselves.
But we can do better. We need to take the next step, and there's no better place than taking the next step here.
Show ourselves out there how much we want to win it again.
We win 4 of the last 5 Premier League, guys. 4 of the last 5 Premier League. Are we gonna do it again?
5 of the last
Don't
6
ask me
now,
again
baby.
about doubles, triples, quadruples, fifthuples, sextuples, and seventuples. So
Don't do it. Hey, and welcome to episode 74 of Shades of Blue.
A lot of niggas debating my numero, not the 3, not the 2 on the UNO.
You know the vibes. We are the most comprehensive Manchester City podcast, covering both the men and women's game, spanning from the Atlantic Ocean to the Rocky Mountains. We make an art over here. Capitalize the A. Before we get into anything else at all, what I need you to do right now, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that thumbs up, show some love, leave comments on what you thought of the episode, maybe retort some of the things you said. Let's say you listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Good Pads, all those things. Rate, review, 5 stars, or what's the point? I appreciate you in those things. We have a lit stream every Thursday. Come check us out, 7 p.m. Central Time. It is the most dangerous show in football. That is the new moniker. If you watched last Thursday, you understand why I'm calling it that now. It's just the vibes. Every Thursday, we bring in 3 most dope guests. This Thursday, we have Christelle, Punit, and Soul from Curva Mundial Pod. Links to that. And yes, we do. Our Bournemouth kickoff show. All of that is in our show notes. Lando, Tarik, Sharpie, how's it going, my brothers?
How about it? Muted Charlie, but I hear you.
Yeah,
I see that energy in that Broncos jersey.
Winners win.
Life is good over here.
Champion of the day. That's what I'm crowning myself that. I won a Manchester Derby. Broncos beat Pat Mahomes for the first time in history. It's a beautiful day. Muted.
Oh man, Muted is kicking everybody's ass.
Too. Hey, everybody muted. Let that voice out. Let
me talk. Let me talk.
Yep. As he figures that out, I'm just gonna go ahead and get going here. My vibes are immaculate right now. I'm not even I haven't watched a lick of American football. I've been busy trying to get right with my kids since the game, doing the live stream with you all. The analysis has been fun. I've been having a blast being a dad. But when I've gotten a chance to kind of soak it in the garage, have my little moment, have my indica, boys, everyone watching, everyone listening, this is a statement win, a statement moment. I think more for United. I'm seeing the content. It might be a little bit of some recency bias and a little bit too much. Bro, they are defeated right now. Those lot are the notion of the lack of tactics, the notion of the confusion between the actual starting squad being asked directly with Ten Hag and who he chose with Varane and Reguilon not starting.
Because I mean, we'll get into it, and I actually have clips for all that stuff, so that's what I'm saying. But yeah, no, they're looking real down bad. Tarik,
It's tough, isn't it?
Good? In today's episode, we start with reviewing this week's slate of games. Pep and the lads' Champions League win on a plastic pitch against a crazed fan base. that is BSC Young Boys. So just gonna say for now on, I'm gonna try to refer to them as Yo Boys. I'm not oversaying Young Boys. So the Yo Boys. Moving on to the Manchester Derby, the battle for Manchester, red versus blue, shock all Premier League applause follows. And in the show, previewing a Premier League match against the Bournemouth Cherries, the one that I was telling everybody we should be worried about in the first place. I've been saying it for a long time.
You called it. You called it.
I am.
You were onto something. You
don't want to, like, I get it. It's a silly thing, but they won.
Yeah.
They also won.
And we were mocking you. And we were mocking you for even trying to bring it up. How dare us? How dare us?
In hindsight, you did the correct thing.
I mean, it was the fucking Derby at least. Shit, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't even like we were going against like Brighton. I can see there's an argument, but like it's the Derby, and you straight up brought up Bournemouth. Like, we gotta focus on them.
My
guy Crunk might be onto something.
I was like, wait, is there somebody we're playing next that I don't know about? Like, I swore we don't have a midweek game. Like, what is happening?
Bro, he started that statement so strong. He started it, and I was like, okay, wait a minute. Wait, what? And then when you said Bournemouth, I was like, nah, what are we doing?
Oh, I love it. Well, shall we?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. We out here.
How are you? Verizon commercial. I'm good, man. You know, earlier I was going to give you a hard time because, you know, I listened to the intro and I heard Pep say, don't ask me about quadruples, fifth tuples, six tuples. And I just wanted to know why we keep bringing up this quadruple thing. Hard. Pep said, leave it alone.
Because it's not
Pep
the
said,
same.
Pep
no, he
said,
said don't ask.
Alone.
He said don't. He didn't say don't talk about it. He said don't ask him about it. Don't ask him about it.
That sounds like you're trying to find a little wiggle room in there. I'm just saying the
that's all this is. That's all this is. What you mean? Have you not met me? That's all.
Your own sound bites,
That's
Crunk.
all I am is wiggle room. All right. Hey. Yeah.
Low-key tough.
Let's go. The plastic pitch of Wankdorf Stadium. Manchester traveled early to practice on the pitch of the Swiss champs. Once I heard they traveled early to experience the pitch, I knew Pep was annoyed. He had to be. And, I mean, he mentioned about it. He said a few things about it. And I knew he would, and I couldn't wait for the presser to drop. And he did not disappoint.
It's what it is. If UEFA allowed to play here, it's because it's in a good conditions, and that's why one of the reasons why is we never train away games before the game, but this is an exception. That's why we travel in the morning to feel the players, how the ball runs, how move right, left, backwards, forward. And that's why we tried, and the players will know it immediately.
The players will know it immediately. I really didn't need to hear about the pitch to know I wasn't going to enjoy this club. If you remember, these asshats rolled in their high horses, releasing a statement when these groups were announced. It was a lengthy statement, but I'll read the part about us. They all profit, end quote. They all want to profit from football and turn it even more of a permanent advertising event. From our Group G embodies all this better than anything, in addition to the marketing construct from Leipzig, which shamelessly and openly exists as a living marketing board. Even our other opponents, actually established traditional clubs, are not beyond criticism. Upon closer inspection, Manchester City are engaged in sports washing to cast the United Arab Emirates and their human rights abuses in a better light. And even Red Star Belgrade and their main sponsor, Gazprom, a certified supporter of Russia's war of aggression against Ukraine, show that football is a dirtier business than ever. Commerce, corruption, money laundering, and modern slavery are not just daily business for these clubs, but also for UEFA and FIFA. Who the fuck do these people think they are? Beating them the way they did wasn't enough for the young boys. I need 10 for the match, honestly. Back at the end, just run it up. I know we usually go calm on people. There's no need to beat them down. It wouldn't surprise me if we see Academy. It also wouldn't surprise me if we see a full 11 and Pep just says, hey, I'm just trying to keep them in shape for all the other matches. I'm annoyed. Starting 11 was Ederson, Diaz, Akanji, Rico Lewis, Rodri, Kovacic, Nunez, Grealish, Daku, and Juan Apte. Pep said the focus in this match was passing through the midfield using small passes, giving young Rico credit for being especially adept at handling the ball in small spaces, making quick decisions and passes. We know the vibes. If you look at the talent disparity between City and your boys, reigning Champions League, artificial turf, that's a tough matchup for anyone. What were your thoughts leading up to the match? Or was this match not a problem? Felt unbothered by the whole thing in general?
I'll start with the pitch and all that. It never really made me think, oh my God, City's going to lose. The only thing I was more aware of is just like the potential for injury, right? Like you throw in a different variable than the players normally play on. Who knows? If you watch the National Football League, you'll see that like a pitch can have some impact, even if it's just psychological and things just happen to happen more often in MetLife Stadium. No offense, Lando. The pitch comes into play. So that was the only concern I had. But whoever Pep needed to play on the pitch, and I knew he would get some people rest before the derby, I was confident that we would walk out with 3 points and basically guarantee qualification to round of 16.
The turf situation for me screams of another case in point example of us not listening to our athletes enough. We've had plenty of points from the women's side that have complained about artificial turf. We've had many complaints from players in the NFL that have talked about it. Even baseball with the old, what was it, the Mariners Dome? That was an issue with their turf. The Astrodome too down there had some shit. So there's always been examples of athletes complaining about these types of things and it never getting done. And I mean, it is what it is. There's not, like you said, you got to play. You got to figure it out. It's the preparation, and kudos to Pep for doing what's needed to go down there, feel a little bit more, and get a little bit more comfortable. And yeah, I mean, I think I'd like to focus more on the situation with trying to target the club. Is this just coming out of nowhere?
It's kind of how it always
been. It was just
I mean,
self brought in.
The second and I want to say it was released a few hours after the groups.
It was during the draw
announced. Yeah, during the draw. Yeah, they were,
or maybe right after
during the draw.
At the end of the day,
it was immediate.
Yeah, I mean, they knew they were in a group that they weren't going to win, and so they just started talking trash because what else are we going to do? We're not going to win this group. We're not even going to come in second in this group. We'll be lucky if we get third in this group. So how do we draw attention to it and kind of level set expectations? Nobody on our side should be expecting us to win this group. And so let's just throw off on the other teams that we have to play. It is what it is. I mean, as far as the pitch is concerned, it's not ideal, especially at the highest level of the game, right? When my kid was playing, she actually preferred playing on turf. Why? Because going from school to school or club to club, you never knew what the pitch was going to look like. At least with turf, you knew the ball was going to roll fairly. Now it might bounce a little bit, but you could pass the ball around. When we play at the Etihad, the pitch is perfect. When we go other places, they kind of grow the pitch out to make it so that we can't move the ball as much. This takes away some of that. Again, there's some really weird bounces to the ball. And again, we know some of the injury problems. I don't think the turf that is used in today's game is the same as the turf that was used 5-10 years ago. But again, this is the highest level of the game. And if at all possible, we shouldn't be playing on it. I don't know what the weather is like in Switzerland. Um, I know, there's always the conversation about it here in the US, if we decide we wanted to move to I'll say the more standard, quote unquote, European calendar. Well, what would that mean for matches in the middle of the winter in places like New York or places like Toronto or whatever, right? So a quote unquote plastic pitch or an artificial turf pitch um, would be easier to maintain in those types of settings. But I think it's a lot about a little. Again, if you can get through without the injuries, I just think that our players are um, good enough on the ball that they can, they'll be able to handle. Now, again, you'll have the odd little wobble when the ball just bounces a little strange. But I just thought there was a big deal about not a whole lot.
Honestly, for when it comes to this whole match, we can do whatever. We can go wherever because Urbana, Svezia, Red Star Belgrade, and your boys both have 1 point in the group. So, but secured our spot in the next round with this win. We could stay in this match as long or as short as we want. Goal we gave up. I mean, there's a good goal scored by their team.
Whoa. Should we go to our goal first? Like, we did score first.
Well, I was just going to give them their one
okay.
credit
Gotcha.
before we talked about us in general. Yeah, and that was really it. Was their one goal that they scored? They made it's what you have to do with us. Just make the most of a mistake and the break and the run and the shot.
If we're going to talk about it, I think and again, this is by no means intending to kill my guy, Rico Lewis, because he's a young kid. He's going to be constantly learning. But seeing him get beat in that one-on-one situation where he's the last man back was somewhat reminiscent of Cancelo getting beat by Salah. It's not the same case where, Cancelo got turned and he tried to play an offside and was just late stepping forward. And so now he's one-on-one. But ultimately, that last player back took a gamble and it led to a one-on-one opportunity, which ended up becoming a goal. It's not the end of the world. We won the match. He'll learn from it. It's not a big deal. But in that moment, I was like, oh, dang, I feel like I've seen that before. And I hope that, we as a squad, we learn from it. We talked about it in the live watch along, for this morning's game. The idea of, making sure we don't get so far up the pitch that we get caught getting back. And I think that was a scenario where it was like, oh, we just got to be a little bit better there. And again, no big deal. Just, could have had that clean sheet.
Yeah. Okay. So the goals. I mean, what was the standouts about them? What do you feel were special about them? Because Pep and everything, yes, they say is a play over, but Pep wanted to stay focused on the match. The fact that it is still a tough match to do with the rain, with the artificial turf and all that stuff. We wanted to give the players the recognition. So this is like our chance to recognize the match.
I think I would just go with the fact that Akanji got that goal so fast after halftime. 48th minute. I can't even talk you through it. I believe it was off a corner. Is that right?
I don't even remember. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, see, I don't remember what happened. I just know it happened, right? I know like the feelings I had when I was watching it because I had just like drove home from work, parked, and the halftime went over, and I was like, "Oh shoot, we got a goal. We're gonna win." And then when I looked back at my phone, it was like, "Oh wait, we gave up a goal. That's crazy." But I was happy that Akanji got one. I always like seeing him play. Clearly, he got a knock or something during the match because he wasn't in the lineup for the derby. But I thought that was important. And then, yeah, obviously, once we see Holland finally get off this, off his cold streak, I thought that was a really big deal too.
Yeah, but we're talking about the match and positives about the match in general.
I agree with Charlie. It was good for Akanji to get the goal being at home, meaning in Switzerland, which is where the nation that he represents. So I thought it was just cool for him, and I think it was his first Man City goal ever. So to get your first City goal and to do it, quote unquote, at home, I just felt like that was a big moment for him, and I'm really happy for him because he's not a goal scorer per se, and so to get that was big. But I do think the biggest piece was seeing Holland get those goals and get his brace. Started with the penalty, just again to get your forward seeing the ball hit the back of the net. You guys know I've argued for that from the beginning of when we started this show. I wanted, our forwards, our strikers to be the ones to take penalties because again, I think it just gets them in that goal scoring mood. One goal becomes two, becomes three. And so getting that penalty, I think again, just kind of sets the mood for Holland. And anytime he gets a goal, he just kind of raises his level just that little bit more. And so I thought it was big. But even with that, there's still moments you can look back and say, oh, but Holland could have had more. Holland could have done, whatever. And that, again, that's not a knock. That's just a reality that he's going to get lots and lots of chances. He was going to score goals because he's going to eventually put them away. You can't keep him out. We say he's inevitable, but it's because we create so many opportunities and he's a efficient enough scorer that if you give him too many chances, it's just a matter of time. So, rivals make a big deal about how many times he touches the ball or doesn't touch the ball. The more times he touches it in good opportunity, in good spaces, and good spots on the pitch, it's just a matter of time. The ball's going in the back of the net. And before you know it, one goal becomes two.
And we've seen the efficiency in the limited amount of time that he does get it in certain instances. Now, the start of this year, there have been moments where he goes cold in getting some of those touches. I think we've seen a little bit of a regression in that sense. But, I mean, my guy, you are absolutely spot on. He is inevitable. We are inevitable. He will continue to be fed. And at the end of the day, it is a scary reminder to everyone that the output is insane at this point. It's insane. I talked about it earlier on the stream that we were doing, but that goal that he had with the right foot, squaring up to the defender, putting it to his left, shot canceling if you play FC24, shot canceling and taking it to the right and smashing it top bins upper 90. Absolutely insane shot. And the reaction to it, so cold, so robotic. I mean, he's just next level, man.
It almost felt like this match was intentionally like the rev up before the derby. It was like, hey, let's get off the slide. Yeah. Let's really make sure we have a great performance. Of course, you want the clean sheet. Of course, you never want to give up a goal. But if we're going to go away to Switzerland, because in the first half it was goalless, but City was dominant. Like Rico Lewis started out slipping and sliding all over the place.
He was cooking.
The team they were cooking, right? Mm-hmm. And it just didn't finish. We had a bouncy ball. I think Nunez had a chance, right, that came up, and he skied it. But you could see the process. And that's what us, like, especially when we get to the derby, you see the difference in the clubs. We can see how the goal will come. Other teams, I won't say name, they pray the goal comes. We just know it's going to happen at some point. And once you clicked in, I think those late subs, right, you got Bernardo on the pitch, you got Phil on the pitch a little bit. It was like, okay, like, we're really in tune now for the derby.
I mean, anywhere else we should touch on this match?
Last point I want to make is that Haaland is now only one goal away from the Golden Boot. Like, the leader in Champions League this year has 3. He hadn't scored in the first 2 matches. People were worried about it. What's going to happen? He got a brace, and now he's one off the lead. So I think all is well in Europe and at home. I'm just saying, I think we're going to be okay.
Vamos.
We're through technically already, right? It's just a matter of it's about winning the group.
Yeah.
It's incredible the standard that we've set. It's incredible how it just continues to play out. It's amazing.
I fully expect 15 points. Like, I don't know if we'll at least 15. We might drop one to Leipzig. It's unlikely, but it could happen, I guess. but it's like we're going to beat the other two and get at least 15 and win the group handily and do what we do.
Yeah.
Light work. 191st Manchester Derby. December 6, 1992 was the first Premier League Manchester Derby, but the first actual derby goes back to 1881 when St. Mark's, who would become Manchester City, played against Newton Heath, which became Manchester United. Seeing United be pathetic this season, having their ownership problems affect sale, situations with multiple players of varying levels of legality, City losing to United after winning the treble, after United had squeaked past Brentford, Sheffield, and Copenhagen. The fact that I wasn't worried and had no fear leading up to this match should have made me worry. Nah, not this time. If I said this season is vibes, I need to keep the consistency. Now, would I ever want to lose to United? Never. Not in any circumstance. For this season, I'd rather outscore them 12-1 in our two matches than win the Premier League. I'm just saying I don't want to lose to them. I also could say that no, we're not winning the Premier League. Come on, baby. Gives us multiple other trophies to win now. So that's all I was saying. I just feel I do hate Manchester United. All of this thinking. I don't see them as a threat, but I dislike United more than I dislike Liverpool. That's just how I feel. But the main reason why I don't want to lose to United is simply just because they're an island of garbage floating in a sea of sewage. And the starting 11 for Manchester City had Ederson in goal, Guardiola, Stones, Diaz, Walker, Rodri, Bernardo, Grealish, Alvarez, Foden, and Haaland up top. Plenty to talk about. I have no plans on going through the match bump for bump. Shout out to everyone who joined us in our watch party. Thanks to Sky for joining us as our resident United fan. It was a very tough job for her, by the end of the match. Start contrasting the lineups. I will give you Manchester United are hampered by injuries. 7 players on the roster are injured or they're Jadon Sancho. Let's show love on both sides. Give me one thing you loved about City's lineup and one thing you loved about United's lineup. And I can go first. So I'll buy some time while you think. I loved the pairing of Harry Maguire and Johnny Evans. The GIFs and GIFs that keep gifting and jiffing. On City's 11, I love seeing Vardiol, Stones, and Walker on at the same time. Pep said Erik ten Hag has no dog. That's what I saw when I saw it. Just came, bing. It's just like Erik ten Hag, coward. That's what Pep thinks of him. Not scared at all. Showbrooks, which one are you? I see Sharpie. I stole yours, I guess.
You stole mine, but it's easy though when you think about United's lineup. I love that Erik ten Hag doesn't have a concrete system, and his biggest summer transfer in the outfield didn't start in the biggest match of the season thus far.
Bingo.
That being Mason Mount. So I love the fact that they're inept offensively. And for City, I'm really happy that even though there's an argument for Ake, of course, because he's done it, he's been in the biggest matches. I love seeing Vardio out there beside Diaz, Stones, and Walker. So just that back line, even though we know Stones plays as a midfielder, basically he's another DM. But just to see those 4 on the pitch, I had no doubts about our defensive solidity. And just knowing that Vardiol could do what Walker does on the right and just add more threat was pretty dope.
Got it. So what I would say is I don't want to take Charlie's, man, but that's a good one. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and go with, if Thom was here, I think he'd side with this because I was completely wrong. But the John Stones and Kyle Walker pairing in that lineup, panning out with me having that fear. John Stones playing the full match, right? Didn't get subbed off. I know he was worried about that, those minutes. And then for United, I'm taking Charlie's Mason Mount. I mean, it's just plain as day right there in front of you how ass backwards this club is when you seek out one of the first signings. They weren't fucking around. They went at him. They tinkered and toyed with the idea of Harry Kane, but no, Mason Mount, he was a clear cut. No, we want him. And in the first chance to start in the Derby, doesn't even fucking start. I mean, that's just plain as day for me as ass backwards club. So those few things for me, for sure.
So it's hard to find anything about Man U that I like. I guess I know, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. But
he didn't want to give him anything. He didn't want to give him anything,
right? He's like, I can't even.
Yeah, bro.
But I guess to your point, Lando and Sharpie having Mason Mount on the bench. I think Crunk, you said Johnny Evans and Harry Maguire, which was because Varane was on the bench. You had Lindelof because Reguilon was on the bench. So, I guess I was thankful for their bench because it had some of their people that should have probably been starters.
You are shitting on them so bad.
So,
that's hilarious, bro.
I don't know.
I don't think I have anything, but
elbow
drop from the top rope.
If I'm gonna find something, it's the fact that they had all those players on their bench because they couldn't have been any worse than the people who were in the game.
their ass bench. So, thank you for having an ass bench.
Well, no, I mean, I guess for the people who should have been on your bench, you played, and then you put these guys on the bench because you can't tell me that Varane's not better than Harry Maguire or Johnny Evans. Yeah. You can't tell me that Lindelof on the outside wouldn't have, you wouldn't have been better off having Reguilon, who was a true left back, play back there. Couldn't have been any worse. So I guess if anything, I'm just thankful that their coach is an idiot.
That's what I was going to say. Tarik's just
bottom line, he's an idiot.
Nobody wants to give the little bit of praise and kudos to Onana. You want to give anything to him?
No.
I
mean, they don't have any other choice. Love. They don't have another choice. They got rid of him. So as far as our lineup, I think I'll guess because we've already talked about a lot of this, and you guys gave some good answers already. I'm gonna say that I was glad to see Phil Foden on the pitch from the start, but mostly because it meant that he was back healthy. Because again, he wasn't in the lineup or in the team or the squad for the midweek match. So seeing him come in made sure that whatever little quote unquote niggles that he might have had that Pep wanted to rest him weren't enough that he couldn't play in this match, and we know he ends up getting a goal when it's all said and done. So I think I'll go there.
Yeah. And if you really were wondering about the lineup, ETH was asked about it twice in the post-match presser. I actually have his reaction the second time that he was asked.
So I said it from the start. I was here, and I just explained it on the question of Samoa. Why? So I have to explain again.
You actually say why?
Sorry. I said why. I said when you face City, they will go up to press, and then to play with Rafa and Maguire over the left, that can be giving problems. Then you end up in only kicking long balls. And for me, he's better on the right, Harry. And especially against teams who are pressing high. And second is, you have to step in over that side. And that was our tactic, to step in over Alvarez and getting Soufiane higher to get press on their building up. And that's why.
There you go. He had enough.
If I understand that correctly, he's essentially telling us and the world that he believes that tactically Harry Maguire is better than Rafa on the right in certain scenarios.
In handling the ball, taking defenders, turning and passing, all of those things.
Yeah.
He thinks
it leads to just long balls with Rafa.
Yeah, if you want to just play defense and stuff like that, yes, you get Varane.
Okay, this is the problem with Eric Ten Hag because we've all watched Rafael Varane at Real Madrid win Champions Leagues. And it's like you're telling me
he was like, oh, he's the Rolls Royce defender before people were calling all these other players that. Before we were calling Virgil van Dijk a Rolls Royce, we were saying that this dude was.
Varane.
To say that this dude can't be involved in the buildup is just because you just don't know how to. You're just an idiot. Like I said, they're just an idiot, and I thank God for that. He's their coach.
There we go. That perfectly stated.
That's unbelievable.
And by the way, long may it continue.
Yeah. I got the wheels. Fucking hell.
Forever.
Wow, what a nincompoop.
At least Ollie had them boys firing. Ten Hag ain't got no heart, no dog. The dog is gone.
All right. Well, I mean, we can go wherever on this match.
Hold on.
How?
I gotta go back because he had this little indignation in his voice that he was being asked this question when he should have looked in the mirror and said, "Why is it that these people feel the need to ask me this question not once but twice? Because obviously what I did was stupid." So somebody was like, "Oh, wait, did you really mean that? We're going to give you another chance. We're going to give you another chance to clarify your answer because maybe you didn't really mean what you said because you couldn't have meant that."
It's the translation. They were like, "Wait, so it's not your first language."
So then this dude comes back and says, "Well, I've already said it." And they're like, "No, seriously, seriously,
like, well,
seriously,
you
didn't mean that, right? That's not what you meant. They were trying to give him every out to fix it, to clean it up, to make it sound better. And this dude just kept doubling down on stupid. I don't know what you do with that. I don't know what you do with that.
What they say you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. They tried their best. Said, "Please, Eric, say something different." And he was like, "No, bro. I'm standing on business." He said, "I'm standing on business. I'm standing on what I said. You heard I said what I said." On his Nini Leaks, Tom would like that. That's what Tom. But yeah,
that's unbelievable, man. That's unbelievable balls. And I don't know if you had a chance to see some of that YouTube content with some of those United fans, but they are rattled. They are done. And this post-press presser, these type of responses, like you're firing yourself. You're firing yourself. You're having case in point in front of the world. You are showing everyone you are an absolute idiot now because you've gone out and gotten people. Haven't panned out. Don't even starting. You sign players and call them Rolls Royce defenders, and now you're telling us Harry Maguire.
We haven't even talked about the football yet. Like you realize this, right? We have not gotten past the starting 11s.
Bro, that's so ballsy.
That's how much content this club has given us. I'm grateful for Man United today. On this here's last Sunday
and we're not, we're not United fans. So, of
but
course,
I think I'm a fan of the chaos. I like
well,
they entertain me.
Maybe. I was say
they don't draw in the Premier League. All they do is win or lose. So it's gonna go one or the other way. It's a great mid-table club, in my opinion. The biggest mid-table club in England, Man United.
But to your point, not Orlando. To your point, it's United fans that are like going in because they don't understand what they're doing. And even Sky on the watch along, she was like, "Wait, what is this lineup? What is this lineup?" They knew from the beginning this does not bode well for us. So again, I don't understand how all of these social media cats with no UEFA badges can see something and realize that this is stupid. And you got a coach who obviously must have his UEFA A. He's got to have his A because he's coaching at, Man United. You got all these licenses, you got all these certifications, and you're going to roll out that lineup?
Bro. T, legit.
I just don't understand.
Then he used to work with Pep.
Yeah, Byron.
Byron.
Yeah.
This is kind of like when Bama loses us. Like it's like when Nick Saban lost coordinators, not named Kirby Smart, but like they go to other places and they try to beat the boss, and it's like you're just not him. You're just not it, and it's a huge gap. You can be bald. I mean, he's too tall, I guess. He doesn't get the fits off like Pep, but it's just he tries, and I love him. I love everything he's done in his life up to this point.
I legit thought it was a joke.
Giving me nothing but joy.
I thought the Harry Maguire and Johnny Evans starting combo was a joke, solely based on the fact that yes, I know that they did it for the midweek match, but if you watch that game, Varane subbed on at the end, so he got minutes. So in my opinion, yeah, I see it, but they're not going to do that against us in the derby is my thought process. But man, fucking happy as hell to be wrong. That guy's a fucking idiot. That guy is an idiot.
Crunk, you still got sounds? We need to get some applause to Eric Ten Hag and all his greatness.
I mean, yeah, round of applause for that guy.
Yes. Thank you, ETH. We appreciate it.
He's all of our shock, awe, and Premier League applause goes to him for making it too easy. It's just too easy for us. We didn't even have to try.
Bro.
Basically, bro.
Barely had to try today. That man gave up before the match ever started.
Like, Crunk, I'm gonna steal the show. Let's play a game. Let's actually make the starting 11 that United should have played. That would have at least made this competitive with their healthy bench. Right? We know Onana gets to start. Yeah. I would say with the people they have available, I'm not mad at Lindelof on the right. Yes. Because AWB is Dalot. I guess Dalot on the right is fine. Dalot, sorry, my bad. Dalot's fine. But on the left, I would have started Reguilon because at least he can bomb up and down. Right. You get that pace. And then you put Varane. You put Varane beside Lindelof. Okay. I think that's just they can figure it out. Like those are two more athletic, more dynamic pairings than Evans and Maguire. And how we feel about their defense. That 4 feel good to at least be more competitive offensively.
If you're forcing me to pick things good for a United club and be serious about it, then at this point, I'm cool with the 4.
Okay, then I would just go the 4-3-3, right? Let Amrabat sit in front of that.
Okay.
And then have 2 do 8s with Fernandez and Mount, your 7 and your number 7 shirt, your number 8 shirt. And then a front 3 of Rashford, Højlund, and Garnacho. And then you just figure it out. Like, you just play. At least you say, like, we are going for it. Like, but to put out I think that would have been a fun put out Ericsson in this match, come on, bro. To put out that was hilarious. Johnny Evans in this match, come on, dog. Yeah. Like, you didn't want to win. Like, you just were trying not to get embarrassed, I guess, but you did anyway.
Double down Ten Hag out there trying to justify him too, man. That's wild. There's no way.
I think this was.
Go ahead, Crunk.
This was just his trying to draw squad. That's all this was.
And that's shameful. That in itself should be firing. If that's true mentality going into a derby, it doesn't matter what the fucking lineup is.
Yeah, you can't do that in a derby. You just can't.
You can't.
Because going into it, I think all of us would say you throw the lineup, not the lineup, but you throw form out, right? It doesn't really matter how everybody's been playing because the derbies are always like kind of this like one off where anything could happen in a derby. And so you have to come in with the expectation that, hey, we have a chance here. And it didn't feel like he thought they had a chance. And they didn't play like they had a chance.
They're one of the few you must clubs.
You can't blame them because they obviously saw what he was doing too. And they're like, he obviously doesn't believe in us.
With that shit out there. I mean, they're one of the you must clubs. Arsenal, you spend money. You sign players. You're competing. You bottle it last year. You must. United, you have the history. You talk shit on people. You must. They are one of the you must clubs. You have there's no excuses to the ownership isn't there. The investors and when they're switching lineups and all this that doesn't work. You must perform. I don't care if rain can come through the roof. I don't care that there's standing urine in your bathrooms. That is shit and that speaks to your club and that's on you. I get it, but you must figure it the fuck out. And you are in the situation where you get laughed at when the manager that you choose looks shambolic. Johnny fucking Evans started for Manchester United today in 2023 in a Manchester derby.
I mean, and this just takes us into the match where the poor manager was he was going up into the stand. Like, he basically went in the stands and sat with the fans. He's like, I don't know, dude.
Bro.
I'm just here.
He wasn't managing.
Up 2-0 coaching his heart out. And Ten Hag was like, I'm going to sit down for a second. My legs hurt. I don't know. Like, maybe he got bone spurs.
I think he was like, if I get a different vantage point, maybe I'll see something different that I can't see from down here.
It'll come to him.
Or maybe I know what it is. It just dawned on me. I got the revelation. Look.
Here we go.
So,
preach.
Are y'all familiar? Everybody pay attention to college football a little bit at least? So there's a scandal right now with Michigan because Michigan has a scout that they would sit and he would go to games and watch with like binoculars and he would try to steal signs. So he was sitting in the stands watching Pep trying to steal signs to see what Pep was going to do so he could come down and try to change it up because he didn't have any clues. So maybe if I sit up here, I can figure out what Pep is doing and I can try to figure out what I should do next. That's got to be what it was, because what else is there? I don't know what else it could have been.
I mean, good on you for trying to figure it out.
Dude was literally halfway up the stands.
He did it multiple times. Yeah, like you said, he would go up there for a little bit. It looked like he was talking to his assistant team, and then he would come back down and sit down. But there really wasn't much talking to the players on the pitch or letting them know what to do. Yeah, that was kind of confusing. And then you see Pep practically on the pitch, like telling players where to go and what to do.
And that's at 2-0.
Yeah, and like the sign of the at 2-0. But the sign of the greatest managers are when things don't go right, when you inevitably get it wrong, because you will, because it's life. You try to fix it.
Yeah.
You don't just stick by it and like keep beating a dead horse. Like you're like, oh no, you swap wings. You come over here. Like yes, he went for Mason Mount at half, but it's like I think when he made the second sub, they were already down 2-0. So it's like, but you saw what this was. Like you knew that you were not going to make an impact with that lineup out there. So you waited too long for Garnacho. You waited too long for like whatever else you did. Like it's just such bad mismanagement. Yes, injuries are a huge part of it, right? Like, but you should know, like, oh, maybe I do need to do something else. I would even rather have seen them play Anthony than Christian Eriksen, and at least have somebody that theoretically is more attacking minded that could be on the wing. Like it just, yeah, he helped us out today. I'm grateful for him. He's a good man.
They truly just put out a bunch of people who were there to spam the ball forward for Højlund and Rashford. That was it. And players to hopefully not let goals in. Onana really will give that man his credit, because if it wasn't for him, I would have had my 6. I haven't hit that button enough this season, and I don't like that. I hate it. Good on Onana. He really does kind of need it now. I feel like he needed to perform, because not to make it like messy or whatever, but that Garnacho tweet and him having to step up and say it's all good. If he would have had a bad match, I'm sure people would have tied that to something, because people are messy. And just in general, the energy towards him has been up and down. So it is good that he had a good performance and, a beatdown.
I was gonna say it's amazing how bad they are as a team, that your goalkeeper can actually like objectively say I had a great match and you still lose 3-0. Like
yes.
And it's like, if you think about this compared to the 6-3 last year, the same goal differential, but it almost feels even more demoralizing when you don't get a goal, right? Like you don't get anything. Like 4-1, at least we got 1. 5-2, we got 2. You don't do shit with 3-0. That's just, damn, we couldn't even score. It was like that stat that came up at one point in the first half was like 45 final third passes to 0. It's like, damn, they ain't did nothing in the final third.
No,
wow.
they can get in there, but they can't even
dribble and it goes out.
Pass to it. Yeah, can't even get a ball out to a teammate to hopefully get something going. Yeah, early on in the 8th minute, when Onana made the double save, and almost practically stole the ball off of Haaland's foot. That was remarkable. The VAR. Oh my goodness. ETH, I don't have his clip on it because all he said was no comment, but I do have Pep on it.
The penalty? I didn't see it. From there, I didn't see the images. Honestly, I don't know. I know that we told me before, since 1992 is the first penalty here in Old Trafford. So statistics sometimes is to be broken. It's happened. But I didn't see it, honestly.
Troll. Yeah, I didn't see it, but I'm gonna tell you the stat that I know by heart. He is hilarious.
I love him. I'm telling you, he's
that is what I was
it.
saying leading up to the match is if you let something become the narrative long enough, people feel compelled they got to change it. If you just keep pointing out that we haven't gotten a penalty in all of these years at Old Trafford, then at some point somebody's going to look around and be like, wait a minute, this just doesn't seem right. So again, whether that's dude from Liverpool trying to, talking about we want a replay, it's not because you really thought you were going to get a replay. It's because you want to influence the next one. All of the talk is just a matter of time. It's got to have an influence. And so when it comes down to it, are you really going to blow it away again and just be like, nope, we're not going to give it? And there's a foul, whether we want to say it's enough or not. There was definitely a foul there. And so it's just, it had its effect and it worked. And again, it wasn't even us that was driving that conversation. At least I don't think. It was just in the social media ether.
Yeah, that VAR, that was great.
What would we have felt if that was against us?
Because of the fact that they called it back after all that time. If he would have said no penalty, I probably would have been very annoyed. And I think only because it was a few moments late. And it was just this whole thing. If they would have looked at VAR, had him go over there immediately and look, and he goes, no, I would have been okay with it.
I would have been, I'm fine with it. Like, I think that's the right call. I think that's not where we're standing shoulder to shoulder and we're just, both of us are grappling. Like, one player is clearly trying to impede the progress and was beaten, right? You're not just like holding me at the line before we start. It's like, no, I'm past you. You reach out. And yes, it's on Rodri to act, or any player in a position to make the officials and the VAR see it. Because if you don't do it, they won't see it because there's so much going on. And that's why it took such a long run of play to finally wait to go back and look at it. So the process did what it's supposed to do, actually. Like, the ref can't see that in real time. VAR should be able to spot it, let it play on, wait till a even time, a neutral time, and then make the right call and give City what we deserved in that case. And Holland does what Holland does.
I haven't gone back and looked and rewatched the play, but if you pull him down and the ball comes in the area where he was or where he would have been had you not pulled him down, it's almost like you have to give it, because if you don't pull him down, there's a better than 50% chance that Rodri gets on the ball in the box. There's no guarantee he scores there because, again, Onana was having his best game in a while, but at least it's a goal scoring opportunity potentially. So, I mean, you can't just pull him down and think, oh, well, it was too soft or whatever. No, if it's a foul, it's a foul.
Exactly. That's the key right there. If it's a foul outside the box and it's a foul inside the box. And I know people are going to complain, well, that doesn't get called as often and all that shit. Okay, agreed. Yeah, but they called it this time. And technically, that's what it's about, getting calls right. And that's a foul. I compare it to that swim move in the post when you're trying to ball entry and the defender tries a swim move getting in front and trying to cut off 3/4, and instead of half mooning from the baseline or top side, it tries a swim move under. It's a foul. You can complain about it, and it's fighting, and it's even, in the paint and going at it, but it's a foul, bro. Can't dispute that.
And I hate the phrase soft pin. I don't care if it's soft, hard, silk, satin, whatever. Like, give me whatever it is. Like, I like a pin. I like a soft pin because it pisses off the opponent. And down there in their heads, you can see it. Man, you was done. The call killed whatever hope they had. Blah blah blah. But it was a wrap.
Soft, hard, over easy, scrambled, poached. He doesn't care. Throw some hollandaise sauce on it. A pin's a pin.
The last thing that I'll say on it is, not only on that play, not only did Højlund grab Rodri and kind of tug on him, but then right above him in the screen, you see, I think it's Harry Maguire kind of has his arms around John Stones' neck for a second, and it's like, Well, if that didn't get called, why should this one? Because where the ball was being played, and again, I think that one should have been called too. And so I just think there's a lot. I said this on the watch along, right? There's a lot of pushing and shoving and tugging and whatever else that happens inside the box, and so you could probably call something every play, but when it potentially impacts a opportunity to get a shot off or whatever, I think you just have to call it and you live with it. So. Today, it worked out in our favor. So many of those haven't, not even necessarily that situation, but just in where we've either not gotten a pin that we thought we should have, or we get one given against us. So, what do they say? Stop complaining because it always works out. It evens itself out in the end. I don't want to hear nobody from Man U saying nothing. It always works itself out. Isn't that what y'all say? So it is what it is, man.
I have questions about their odds and cup matches and cup draws. Always end up getting a home match. Oh,
so many things you point
bro,
to.
And you can have that conversation all the time, but at the and let's the city in us, right? The natural city fan in us knew, at least, and I said it on the watch along, that pen happened for us. I'm thinking in the back of my head, bro, they're about to get one back. As long as we get a second goal, they're about to get one back. Now it didn't. I'm happy that nothing panned out that way, but something tells me if there was a fishy situation where it was 50-50 coin flip, because that's almost what I think VAR is nowadays, coin flip, when they go to it, when they decide it's, a foul or not, or whatever the circumstances is. So I don't know, man. We take it and we move.
Yeah, it's just more of chances. United, they didn't have many, and the few that they had, it was like Hoyland had a pretty good one, but really just every single time just smothered him, knocked him off of his just like very direct run that he wants to do, makes him have to try to do something, and Ederson comes out hot. It forces a wide. Team scrambles. United, because they're all way behind the ball, and they're either old or unathletic or both. They're struggling to get up the pitch. Rashford, Hoyland can't buy that much time. There's usually 5 to 6 City players around the player before there's even a second or third United player. It was beautiful football. Yeah, just real chances.
Crunk, what was your pre-match? And you said it on another on another stream podcast content, but you put it out there. I want to kind of get back to it. You said if we scored an early 1-0 goal, and at that point, how United were going to change. Give me a breakdown of what that was again, because when we were talking about an in-game, I was like, that's actually exactly how it happened in that first half.
Yeah, well, it's just my ethos with City, and I guess with its goal scoring. And I will just say this season, I mean, it worked a lot for last season. If we scored 2 goals, specifically in the first 20 minutes, Pep all but shuts up shop. If we score a third, we're normally pretty lucky. If we score a third, it's because we give up one and we have to score a third.
Yeah.
But if we score 2 goals before 2, it just doesn't happen. They say all the time they want to spend the first 10 minutes taking their time, slow and steady. This is what Bernardo and Halan said in their interview post-match. Bernardo got the man of the match, by the way. They were just like being patient. Pep said that he wants us to take our time in the beginning of the match. I've heard him say it. He tells them, I don't want you to focus on scoring in the first 5 minutes. He doesn't care about scoring because the goals are going to come. The whole emphasis of it is getting used to having the ball at your feet, getting used to the pace of United, the heat of their press, who's going to go where when we pass to who we pass it to. Get those things in your brain so when we do turn it up, when we do decide to attack, we know what to do. If we score too quickly, then whatever game plan we have goes out the window. Pep gets on his whole Marinofication of his team, like Tom Baum said at the beginning of the season, and just shuts up shop. Well, if we score a goal after 20, I think that's our best chance to score 3, 4, 5 goals because that keeps us inspired. If we score 1 goal after 20 minutes, then our mindset is, all right, we need to score another one before the end of the first. Then you're going to want to score another one once the second half begins. So in hopes that would be a third goal, and you would always want to end the match with another goal. So that's my pep-brained idea of our scoring. Yes, I want us to score quickly as possible, but if I want us to run it up, I actually want a slow burn. I want a little bit of flow play.
Okay. Whoa. I feel that though to a certain degree. I can't dispute. I feel that because to your argument, and he's exactly right here. If in any big matchup, any big quality game that we have, should we go into it in the first 5 minutes and get that banger of a first goal? You are so right that from at that point, that other club is chasing. Now, from a game plan perspective, it has changed what we want to do. And to your point, Pep doesn't necessarily like that. He likes sticking to the fucking game plan. We know that about Pep. So yeah, you could. I really like that. I really like that. When we were watching this game and you told us that breakdown, I'm like, yo, this is going out like he just described 10 minutes ago to us. Like if this can be the way it goes in the sense that we get this goal, now that second one right before that fucking half and Onana. That had me thinking going into it. I'm smoking my indica break out here, and I'm like, I think this could be a problem if they get an early goal here in these first 5-10 minutes, and it goes 1-1. I'm worried about the fact that we've tricked a few opportunities. So yeah, no, that's great analysis by you.
I appreciate it. We actually got off on Eric Ten Hag. We kind of got off his back. I want to hop back on. He was asked about why he took off Rasmus instead of Rashford.
Yeah, but I have to protect Rasmus Højlund and I have to protect the team. He's putting so much effort in pressing, going in the transitions, going long ways, be in a fight in the tough opposition. And yeah, then we are losing the game 2-0. And then you're taking him off, and he's not used to it. 3 games a week. So, as I said, I have to protect him, and I also have to protect the team to bring some energy in.
And what he said later, because it's just the way that he talks, the pacing and everything, it takes forever. He said that the decisions he made, the subs he made, it was a more offensive. He's then said things didn't go right or it didn't go to plan. And then he talked about what the team did wrong, but I couldn't tell if in that moment was he being honest that he made the wrong decision, or was he just slowly getting to what the players did wrong. It was very interesting in the moment. Obviously, he made the wrong decision because he tried to make it a game down 2-0 when, it was just like so open. And that honestly helped City's style of possession even more, because when we did have our chances to run and attack, it was just open. The whole pitch was just wide open. The player had plenty of space to turn and run. That was when Daku came on. There was no real defender out there. That's why Anthony was just trying to break his legs, because that's all he knew what to do and how to do. Anthony probably didn't even want to come on in the first place. If I want to say, he say no when he got to United early on? He said there was like one time he got asked to come on and he was like, no thanks or something. I could be mixing up with another player.
I know it happened. I'm not sure.
But that general demeanor of his in dealing with the Doku and the temperament, you can see how there are potential issues there with that human being. I just think demeanor says a lot about people and hostile situations and how you deal with those types of circumstances. And for someone to come on the pitch in the scenario, 3-0 down,
and like
having to defend the way he was on a player like that, doing what he was, and you react that way, tells me a lot about you. Tells me a lot about how you handle it.
Yeah. And even Bruno, same.
I I've got a bit of a temper. I can admit that, and I know that about myself. Um, and I try to. I think now I'm old enough that I can kind of keep that under wraps. But um, he's got a little bit of an issue with anger, and I don't say this lightly, especially given everything that's revolving around the player.
Spot
But it this is not the first match where he's combustible, or he's a lightning rod, or whatever they want to use to phrase it. At the end of the day, the dude has an issue with anger, and he got punked by Doku, and so he wanted to get up in his face because he couldn't get the ball off that man. And this is the same dude who, being Brazilian, he likes to dance, he likes to do all these step overs, do all this stuff, and play this fancy way. And so when somebody's showing him up, he should have gotten a red card for the kick that he put on. At minimum, he should have got it.
And he did,
Yeah.
and he did it twice. And the second was a big wind up. It was a huge wind up.
And that's what I'm saying. He should have got a red for that. But again, the fact that
Gaku
like
dodged.
anybody else, right? You want to be able to
why.
hand it out, but you can't take it. So
At
I
all.
don't ever want to see that dude dancing on the ball, trying to showboat, whatever, because if you can't handle it, don't go out there doing it to nobody else.
Niggas give me heebie-jeebies.
So true. So true.
Niggas give me heebie-jeebies.
He's weird, bro. You got an Illuminate tattoo on your neck. That's weird, bro. He's on his neck. It says Illuminate in Portuguese, bro.
You sure it doesn't say Illuminati? Can I start that? Can I start that?
Oh, Illuminati's down bad.
I was gonna say, I don't know if they want that though.
Illuminati.
Can
That's a bad look on them.
Can you also point out that Ten Hag in his bad management has chosen Anthony, the accused sexual offender, over Jadon Sancho? Like, this is the choice you make. Like, you said, that's my guy, and whatever Sancho did was so egregious that I'm not going to welcome him back in. And maybe it was a Cancelo-esque blow up at the manager, right? Maybe. I mean, you've got to take a stance. But it looks bad because Anthony, they both cost a lot of money, and neither are performing. But one of them can't even get on the pitch.
You had history with the other one. You knew the other one from the
it was your boy Ajax.
You were out there in the Dutch league spotting it, like you knew what was up with him. You're not foreign to this player. You seek this motherfucker, and you can't pan out.
He managed him, like he knows him. Yeah. So it's like, hey, this is the bed you made. So now you got to lie in it. And I'm grateful for him.
People were down on Foden. Were you seeing that?
No.
Were y'all seeing that?
No.
I was. I'm seeing the odd occasional down on Foden, and I think if you are those people and you're listening, I believe you're sick and you might need to maybe rewatch the match because he was fantastic. He wasn't having those giant fantastic runs that he is known to have, but that wasn't what he was asked to do. It wasn't the space on the field that he was in to do that. And United wasn't giving him that space at all. People really aren't allowing Mans to do that turn, run, and burn anymore. They know what that is.
Yeah, but if you notice, there was a thing he's added to his game because now he started out wide. Like he basically took up the old Mahrez position, right? And so if you think about his pace and his on the ball especially, that was one time he just like cut in, he glided in on his left foot, and he just went all the way across the box almost. Like it's so hard to get a touch on him without fouling him. He's just like he's a more elusive Grealish, whereas Grealish is obviously stronger and can like do it slower. When Phil decides to go, it's on you to just guess right because you can't really stop him. But I think in that situation, he like laid it off, and we kept moving on our process. But he is dynamic from 3 or 4 different positions, going back to when we saw him play false 9 and winger. He's played central mid. He's played left wing, left mid. Like he can really do it all the same way Bernardo can, except Bernardo does it more defensively, obviously, whereas Phil goes anywhere on the front half of the pitch. Bernardo can go box to box, truly. But yeah, I love Phil's game, and seeing all the kids, the 3, the 3 stars, the young ones, come together and just gel this season. Like that KDB injury was truly a blessing in disguise. because they will never get this much time with KDB healthy. It's impossible. KDB's going to be on the pitch for one of them. So now it's like, wow, like they have chemistry, and you're just going to add in KDB after the winter break. Good luck, guys.
Love it. Let's go. Trying to look at, Foden's goal, his little tap in. Haaland was asked in the post-match interview that he was like, I'm shocked you passed it because you had a chance at goal. You had a chance to get, another goal, keep it running. He was like, no, Phil was open. I gave it to the open guy. We know this. We say this all the time. Everybody says this. Man, Haaland is a fantastic teammate. Even he did the interview with Bernardo. Mm-hmm. They were just giggling, complimenting each other.
I love you.
The guy, yeah, right? The guy gave him the award to give it to Bernardo. He hugs him, says, I love you. I love this team so much. How can you, when people are like, how do they keep doing this? How do they keep winning? The chemistry obviously is fantastic. When you're winning with people you like these are buds. They're buds. That's a good thing to have. Great facilities. People like you. The clothes is nice. You got good deals. Teams are losing bad. I have one last Ten Hag clip. He was asked if this was the worst derby loss.
One of the most disappointing days you've had as Manchester United manager?
Yeah, of course it's disappointing.
That pause.
Yeah. Yeah, of course it's disappointed, but last year we had many highlights, and so far, not now.
Vans went immediately to last year. Hey, you remember that? Remember that one time VAR saved us? Oh, it is down bad for them. A whole week, our city men have a week to rest. The women, they're out. Our baby blue baddies, international duties. But our men, they have a week to rest, visit the physios, along with a proper training off and on the pitch. I know rumors are Kevin's moving ahead of schedule. I reiterate my previous stance. He should not see the football pitch for City until 2024. Not at least, until 2024. I don't care when that is. It could be January 13th against Newcastle. That would be the perfect match to return back. Newcastle side trying to get used to their new player, Calvin Phillips, situated, playing against his old squad. If Eddie's smart, they get the transfer done January 1st at 12:05 a.m. Probably will take you like a week or so to get any information about City from Calvin. Another few days to check and see if he's bullshitting. Then a few more to implement and practice and stuff like that. So you guys got some moving to do. So you got to pay that entire fee that City wants. Just don't ask any questions. Just pay. All right. Anything else of the match in general? No.
No, we touched it all. I'm good.
I'll say we've talked more,
especially when we did the live watch along, and then we did the SPS. The people probably already
their performance doesn't deserve nearly as much conversation as we've given it already. So yeah, I'm good.
Right.
We got the. Are we doing Premier League stars and applause?
Yeah, you want to?
I mean, I got a quick one if that's okay.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
All right. I actually want to shout out, I want to applaud the rest of the top six. This is one of the first times I can remember 6 teams after 10 matches all having a plus 12 or higher goal differential. So there's there's a higher class now. It is Spurs, Arsenal, City, Liverpool, Aston Villa, and Newcastle. So 4 of the traditional big 6, but now you throw in a resurgent Newcastle, a resurgent Villa, and they beat up on teams. All those teams have had massive wins. Everybody has at least 22 goals in the top 6, and we're actually lowest at 22. Tied with Spurs, but it's we have the best defense with only 7 allowed. But it's a nice class. People always want to race, and you always do get a race until you don't, right? It's always competitive, until City keeps winning and everybody else starts to drop. So I'm enjoying this. It's fun. It makes for good content. We can take the screenshots and say, wow, City were third place at October 29th. Let's see where they are, May 29th, because that's all that matters. So I'm enjoying what the other clubs are doing, and seeing Villa and Newcastle step up, especially Villa, has been really cool.
To
Mr. Diaby.
So I was going to bring up Tottenham because, again, sitting in first place, they got 8 wins, 2 draws, no losses as of yet. All of that, again, after losing what many people feel is the best forward in England, in Harry Kane. So, a new coach that nobody would have considered. They didn't even consider. He was like 15th choice to bring in. But they hit, and so kudos to those guys. But you were talking about Newcastle and how they are positioned. I don't know, start looking at their rest of their season, well, not the rest of the season, but the next upcoming games. They got Man U in the League Cup. They got Arsenal in the Premier League. They got Dortmund in Champions League. They've got Bournemouth, and then they've got Chelsea, all in the month of November. I think there's a good chance they might drop some points, a couple points in there. Now, again, it's over a couple different competitions, so maybe it's not as big a deal. I guess I didn't bring up PSG and Champions League in the 28th, so the month of November is going to be tough for them.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see how they play it.
Ooh, you said it all, Tom. I mean, Tarik, but looking at it, it was like, wow, like those crests. I'm like, oh, good luck, boys. Good luck.
Well, I mean, yeah, and then you go to, January. They only have a couple games, but it's Liverpool at Liverpool on the 1st, and then it's us at home on the 13th. That's a tough 2-game stretch right there, and then
at
Aston Villa on the 30th. So Newcastle is hitting a spot in their schedule where they got some tough games coming up. So we'll see if they can keep it up. I think that's always the issue, especially with Tonali being dropped or out. They got to get somebody in. Interesting thing to see. I saw this, I think yesterday or today in my news feed, whatever, is we have been talking about them going for Calvin Phillips, right? Because it helps, it suits what we want as well.
Yes.
But there's conversation about them going and getting Ruben Neves. Used to be at Wolves, went over to Saudi Arabia. He's playing for one of the clubs that's owned by PIF, which is the same owners as Newcastle. So could they do a little bit of CFG type maneuvering where we send a player on loan, or we go get a player on loan? Back in the day when we went and got Frank Lampard, right? We needed a midfielder. We went and got Frank Lampard before he ever even played for NYCFC. So could they be like, you know what? We're going to borrow Ruben Neves to get us through this get us through the end of the season and then go from there. So we will see what happens.
To that point, is he on the same team as Neymar? Al Hilal? Like, are they on the same squad?
I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, who just went down?
Yeah, so it's kind of like, okay, we have a sale. Like it was like, okay, Neymar's
give
gone.
it a season.
Yeah, whatever. Let's help out our other club and get some more money to try to push this, make some noise in Champions League. It would be nice. I hope they get it done.
I like that though.
Keep Chelsea down, keep United down. That's all that matters.
Well, that's who I kind of want to laugh at real quick. It's just Chelsea. They can't. This is what it's gonna be. This is who they are right now. You're gonna get ups and downs. I don't like Pochettino. I laughed the entire time. They shot the camera full body of Pochettino after the loss, and he's just standing there, and he just looked confused, anger.
There's a lot to be confused about. You spend all that money and you can't get a win. That's confusing.
But to just stand there in front of the camera, the camera's there. But you are feeding it right now. Like, bro, turn around and go into the locker room or something. What are you doing? He's so performative. And that people say that he's quiet and he's low key and stuff like that. No, Mans knows how to get his stuff off in a very passive aggressive way. And it's what Chelsea gets and it's what Chelsea deserves.
Did you all watch that match?
I did.
Saw a little bit of it.
I did. Mm-hmm.
What did you think of Cole Palmer's performance?
He looks good. He was at moments the one who was stringing a lot of the chances. I posted he took the city dink to Chelsea. There were a lot of those passes where he was just doing the little. We see Rodri do it a lot, just like pop over all the people, and we have a streaking player get the ball and hit it in. KDB did it with Haaland a million times. Cole Palmer did that 3 times, and should have been 3 goals, but the players he's hitting the balls to aren't City players.
Felt like he was running the game for them. He was their main cog in the engine and making things go and making things happen for them. Of course, they didn't get any goals. They didn't win the match, so it's neither here nor there. But it was again, I still have an attachment to him. Glad to see him doing well. Just don't do well against us. That's my only ask. Do whatever you want to do against anybody else. Just don't do well against us. So it is what it is. But and
Gundo as well. After the Barca loss, basically being like, "I miss you guys."
He took wait, what? Like Crunk. I heard the statement. He did not say that, bro.
That's not what you heard?
No, it had nothing to do with City, bro.
Oh, my bad. Okay.
This man was talking about they need to be disappointed and they need to be angry.
I missed the clip.
And he turned it into, "I miss you, City." What?
He can't say that. But he basically was like, "Look, I went in that locker room. I'm used to success. I'm used to people hating winning by 1. I go in there and they're dancing they're making TikToks and shit. Like this is."
He didn't say any of this. Oh my God.
That is. Come on now, Sharpie. We're adults.
He's reading between the lines.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying, man. Come on, man. He is miserable.
Can I give Chelsea some love real quick? And this is very backhanded, but they have more goals than Erling Haaland right now. They have 13 in the Premier League. Haaland only has 11. That's a big step up from last year. We love him.
I was going to say, you call that out because they didn't last year.
Exactly. It's just Man U now that has the same amount of goals as Erling Haaland with 11 in 10 matches. Erling Haaland also overall has more than 9 clubs in the Premier League. He's only 2 away from tying Wolves and Chelsea. So that's what I'm watching now. How many teams of Erling Haaland score more than this year as opposed to last year? So this is going to be fun to watch.
So do we have how many teams did he score more than last year? Do we know that number?
If you give me 28 seconds in buffer, I can look up the Premier League table, the final PL table.
I got
20
you.
to 23.
No, that's funny. Oh my gosh.
Because I think it's at least 7.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Because those bottom 3, 4, 5, they barely could score. I mean,
and he's for sure going to do the bottom 4 this year. That's going to be easy.
Yeah,
so at slow rate.
I was hoping for Burnley, man. It doesn't seem like it's going to happen for him, and I feel really bad for Company.
He needs to get out of there because staying one more year. But then again, I don't know where he goes. But if Burnley goes down even more, that makes him look worse. Oh, no.
It was 3 teams last year. Everton had 34 goals. Well, Wolves had 31 at the lowest of the league. Everton had 34. Southampton, he tied with Southampton at 36. And Bournemouth had 1 more at 37. Chelsea did have 38. They beat Erling Haaland by 2 last year. So they're keeping their same pace. They finished 2 ahead of him. The whole football
His
club
36 goals were all just league goals, right?
That was the league, yeah. Not even counting CL or the other FA. So many trophies we win.
Yeah.
Impressive.
Oh gosh. All right. Preview score prediction. Bournemouth They're aside, sitting in 17th place, 6 points in 10 games. Their win was against Burnley before their hard win, though. Bournemouth lost to Wolverhampton as well as getting mopped by Everton 3-0. Can't forget about losing to Arsenal 4-0. City have faced Bournemouth 13 times. City have won every match. In 8 of those 13 games, City have scored 3 or more goals. There were 2 matches where a City player was sent off and City still won. We have outscored the Cherries 10-2 in the last 3 games. Can our citizens continue the winning tradition? Battering and deep frying some cherries. Sharpie, Eric, how do you see this match playing out? What's your favorite dish with cherries? Let's hear a score prediction.
I'll go with my favorite dish first. I love a classic milkshake with a cherry on top. Something about it. Go to an old school diner. A nice feel. We had a spot called what was a spot called? Dumars, something like that in Norfolk. I used to love going to. For
That's
food,
old school, man.
yeah, that was food for the match. They have to play Liverpool 3 days earlier. They put Liverpool in the 4th round of the Carabao Cup, and so I think they're gonna go for it. Obviously, that's the biggest cup they can win this year. So I think coming off of that, and then they have to travel to Manchester. We have another meal coming up. I think we get 4. So I'm going to say City 4-0 because I think, we get one more than we got against United.
I was going to go 4-0 as well. When they played Arsenal a couple of weeks ago, Arsenal beat them by 4-0. Everton got 3 against them. So, and that was a 3-0. So, yeah, I'm going to go 4-0 as well. I used to go I'm going to tie a couple things together from social media. I used to go to Cheesecake Factory, and I would get a cheesecake with cherries on top. Now they only get they have strawberries. They have all kinds of other stuff too, but they have strawberries on top. They don't have the cherry cheesecake anymore. But if I could, I would get that. That's what I would get. I'm not a huge fan of cherries, so that would probably be the thing that I would go for.
Cherry cheesecake, classic. Cherries, they aren't cheap, at least good ones. Man, so first dates at Cheesecake Factory? No.
Quality.
I will say this. I posted this, or maybe me and another friend of mine on social media, but I'm a simple dude, man. I got a family. I'm not so bougie, so my palate is not so refined that I can't enjoy Cheesecake Factory. I'll go and I'll have a good time and I'll be fine. So it's all good with me.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in a place without a Cheesecake Factory, so
I don't have one.
Enjoy cheesecake. I enjoy them when I go. When I go to it, it's a treat. I'm like, this is nice. This menu is like too much. There's way too much going on with this menu, but it's good. It's
Complaining about a place with that many options just means you just like to argue because you can't leave. It's like Drake said, why you want to fight with me at Cheesecake? You know I love to go there. How dare you bring up an argument or not be grateful for the hard-earned money I'm spending on you at this location? Like, Cheesecake is amazing.
Right?
I've never had a bad
prices.
outing.
I'm Drake. I can buy everything on this menu.
We give you Asian cuisine. We give you American cuisine. Might throw in some Italian with some pasta. You literally get whatever you want. It's like a souped up Golden Corral. So instead of a buffet, you can just order whatever you want. Thoroughly enjoy it. Recommend it. 10 out of 10, no notes for me.
Well, me, y'all, hey, 4-0. I don't feel crazy with this. I'll give it a 1, but we're getting this, baby. 6. I want the 6. I want the 6 so much.
We need the goal differential. It's time to run it up. They are motivated.
Run it up. Beat them down, baby. Well, this Thursday. Well, anything else? Cool. This Thursday, tap into our lit stream starting at 7 p.m. Central Time, streaming live on FanFest. Shout out to our FanFest Live Mia, most dope guests, Christelle, Punit, and Soul. I'll just leave it at that. I'll cut that part out and empty space. Speaking of FanFest Live, join us for our Premier League kickoff show for City versus Bournemouth Our show will start an hour before kickoff. Once those lineups go live, basically means our show is live. Tap in with us. Links to the lit stream and the kickoff show are in the episode descriptions. Follow our social media accounts on that formerly known as Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, YouTube, all those things. Links to them in the episode detail in the show description. That's the word I think they use, show description. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to leave a comment, hit that thumbs up. If you prefer audio only, rate, review the show. 5 stars or what's the point? Patreon. Check out the Patreon. We're stepping up on it, but it's a great place to get your episodes plenty early, breaking bread, any extra episodes that we're doing, all old SOB episodes, all there. We have an amazing episode with Ariel Castillo that I don't think a lot of people have paid attention to. That's on our Patreon. The homie Natalie Pike, that's there. I had a chat with a friend who went to the Champions League match. There's an episode with him. There's some really dope episodes available on our Patreon. $6 a month. It's very much worth the shade. Check it out. All of that stuff is in the show details, the descriptions, whatever. My fantastic co-host. Let the listeners know where to find you.
Find me on twitter.com, aka X, in your app store, at Sharpie Charlie.
It doesn't matter. Find me on Twitter, at Tarik Peterson on Twitter. If you happen to be on Threads, you can find me there. TK Peterson 12.
TK Peterson. Let's go. Follow the show on Threads, TikTok, all that stuff. Shades of Blue Pod. I'm on Twitter as Crunk Phoenix, Instagram, all that other stuff as Crunk Chocolates. You know the vibes. Shady gang, shady gang, shady gang.